Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zonde with your technology and social media news. We hope you are staying indoors and keeping safe where you are and leaving home if you really have to. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you think Facebook's algorithms discriminate against certain groups. This, as the social networking platform said, it's going to investigate this. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Firstly, here's what's coming up tonight. We look at online anti-bullying initiatives. There are details about growing competition on which areas are going to get 5G first and which networks are going to provide this. And in our discussion, we chat to Tichaona Zindoka, who is chatting to us about Zimbabwe and its blockage of mobile money services. As children spend a lot of time at home, they're also spending a lot of time online, and they often face bullying there. Producer Sandile Hlangani tells us about anti-bullying initiatives that we should be aware of.
Lower smartphone prices are driving a digital revolution in the African continent, allowing mobile phone users to access the internet at unprecedented levels. However, this rapid growth has simultaneously created a range of safety concerns.
South Africa is particularly vulnerable around two things. The one is with young people, it's around cyberbullying. So South Africa's got the highest rate of cyberbullying anywhere in the world based on a study that was done in 2018. And really there's not very much activity around trying to prevent it.
To address these issues, Impact Amplifier says it has partnered with Google.org to finance innovative existing and new solutions to these challenges.
This fund has been set up to try to promote innovative thinking and action so that we can start to address some of these concerns. Because obviously we've had a massive rise of activity around being connected online, smartphones.
The funds will focus on solutions which address women and children's online safety, as they are the most targeted groups.
Young people are particularly vulnerable around two things. One is cyberbullying, and the other is kind of inappropriate exposure to both violence as well as sexual content. So they tend to be those that are actually being targeted very specifically. Of course, it's youth. Some of it is youth to youth, but also it's adult to youth.
Atang Muku became a victim of online bullying after a religious ritual following the death of her father.
In grade 7, I lost my father, which was 2 years back, and so I had to shave off my hair for traditional reasons. When I got back to school, a girl in a younger grade called me a boy in a skirt at the tuck shop, and it made me feel very hurt because it went around WhatsApp and other social media platforms.
She now plans to reverse this situation by creating an anti-bullying app.
I intend on creating this app because I've seen the amount of bullying in schools and around workplaces as well, and it affects students as well as adults. And so I'd like to come up with an alternative to help bullies and those who are being bullied.
Industry experts are now warning businesses and individuals against the increasing threat of worldwide cyber attacks.
Businesses and also individuals, they need to be aware of all three. I would say that definitely criminals who are financially motivated, they are the biggest threat to smaller and medium businesses as well as home users.
They say the biggest reason for the increase in attacks is people working from home or remotely.
We've seen cyber criminals trying very, very hard to take advantage of this work from home trend as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've seen them trying to exploit these topics in a very aggressive manner at the beginning of March, April, and of course that this is maybe, let's say, not over yet. It's still ongoing.
To tackle the problem, Costin says businesses need to take drastic steps.
We recommend for people to use so-called internet security suites that combine protection against malware with strong password and password managers, as well as third-party application patching.
The Africa Online Safety Fund is open to organizations throughout Africa, but is prioritizing Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya.
Vodacom, MTN, and Rain have launched 5G in South Africa, and more areas are getting 5G. So it seems like there is a growing competition on who is going to reach the wider country first. But a lot of people still don't quite get what 5G is. Here's producer Lebo Mokomela.
Rain's product is slightly cheaper than MTN and Vodacom, but I wouldn't want to think it as that they will give competition to MTN and Vodacom, because remember, Vodacom and MTN already have a massive infrastructure that they have throughout South Africa. So by that fact, I don't think Rain can actually be a competitor to these two. But I think they will actually be complementary to these services. Because I remember some time ago, Vodacom had to partner with Rain, whereby when there was a high demand during this lockdown, some of Vodacom traffic had to go to Rain. So they were just like complementing each other. South Africa, we still the mobile operators are still waiting for spectrum to be allocated. So when MTN and Vodacom launched their 5G networks, they were actually using emergency spectrum that was made available by ICASA because of this COVID-19 lockdown. So this spectrum is still to be retained to the government, and the government is still to allocate spectrum to them. So they can't actually roll out 5G as much as they would want. That's why you find out that it's still limited in the big cities, your Johannesburg, your Cape Town, and so forth.
As there is a growing number of people who test positive for COVID-19, more and more people have to go into self-isolation. So you can find that it can be a very lonely space. That's where online platforms come in. And comedians are there to entertain us should we have the need to go into self-quarantine. When one tests positive for COVID-19, they have to quarantine away from the public. This is to protect others from contracting the virus. Humans are social beings, so self-isolation goes against how we are designed.
Because you are not used to such structures, some individuals can develop depression, some people develop anxiety disorders, some people develop some sort of a lack of understanding of themselves, because now it becomes very scary to have to face yourself alone without the affirmation or without the correspondence with other people. Mental disorders have been linked strongly to the diagnosis of COVID.
Having technology around us could be our saving grace.
You need to extend yourself to find that you have a smartphone, television to keep yourself entertained, and the laptops. Memes and video calls, I've noticed that there have been a lot of those lately since the lockdown, the beginning of lockdown. They are very entertaining and they reassure us that there are other people on the other side.
There are content creators who have taken it upon themselves to create funny and entertaining content during our lockdown. Comedian Thandolwethu Mseleku uses content in the news to make funny clips that he shares on YouTube, Instagram, and other platforms.
Same thing like sanitizers. Sanitizers got 70% alcohol. So if you're drinking alcohol, it's like you're sanitizing your inside. You make sure that your inside is kept sanitized. So if you take a person who's not drinking alcohol and take a person who's drinking alcohol and say who got more chances of getting corona. The one who's not drinking got more chances because he's only sanitizing hands.
South Africans have been sharing these a lot on WhatsApp.
Mina msasazi ngithi lento yenze uhulumende ukuthi asimbele amathuna siphila wenze ungasicabangeli thina esiphuzayo sizophuzani manje emngcwabeni ngoba phela ngeke lisaphuma ikesi nebhodlela abantu abambayo umgodi uvele usumbiwe. Social media have helped me a lot. It's made it easy for me to reach a wider audience across the country. Recently I've been getting even the viewers from abroad because of social media. To do a content related to lockdown, it's never been hard for me as a comedian, as I always find a funny thing in every situation. So there are lots of things happening during lockdown where I see an opportunity that I can make a joke out of this, and then apparently people seem to like it a lot.
Oh, but what's so sorry, man? Oh, what?
Some of those who have had to isolate when they have tested positive for COVID-19 say they found these and other online platforms perfect as lockdown entertainment.
During quarantine, I would go online and watch Netflix, Amazon Prime or DSTV Now. And sometimes I would go on social media because it's quite entertaining. I would spend hours on Facebook and Instagram just looking at what people are posting.
There are also those who create videos that issue warnings about COVID-19.
Kusho mina ngisho kini ngithi nansi ikarana madoda unkosi yami Jesu isicelo umhlaba wonke sanitizani phela ngani zakwethu ukuze sizivikele.
Lokhu kwe-internet o-WhatsApp o-Facebook benza impilo yabalula. Ngokwaleyo nto nje akufanele izibe yinde. Leso siqephu esincane nje uma ngabe sihlale kwi-point bakwazi abantu ukubona ukuthi uzama ukwenzani. Awu, vele ihambe kakhulu.
If you find that this isn't sufficient enough when in isolation, psychologists say use your tech again to make phone calls or video calls.
There's been a strong talk around the need to have online therapy sessions. So as much as you might not be able to go and see your therapist or might be able to go see the psychiatrist that you need to see, there are online sessions that one can book and be able to get a consultation.
While self-isolation or quarantine periods might take a toll on mental health, the smartphone will definitely be what connects us to the rest of the world. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about Zimbabwe blocking mobile money.
Nothing could have prepared us. No one thought what was happening could be true. We didn't realize how much we'd miss each other. Everyone said nothing will be the same. But nothing feels the same either. You're stronger than you know. You've changed. We all have. Your time is now. And together, we will get through this.
Make your future count. Leave a legacy. Start today. Demlin Online.
Firstly, CEM agreed that only grade 6 and 11 will return, and provinces that are ready and institutions that are ready will then also phase in the ECD programs.
Why the rush to get back now at this time in the middle of a peak?
And I'm saying their response confirms the correctness of the fact that parents and learners want to go to school.
We're not happy at all because we got a challenge with the PPE.
There was no need for us to rush for the reopening of the schools.
By opening or reopening of the schools, we are actually giving the virus a chance. That's why we are saying to whoever is the decision makers to review the decision.
we need to think very differently about how we are going to embrace what is left of 2020.
News Network at SABC.co.za on email. Welcome back. Let's chat to a few Zimbabweans now on how they are dealing with their country blocking mobile money services.
So the ban was on merchant transactions. You can't cash in, you can't cash out. The biggest challenge is on the consumer, who is forced to look for cash because retailers are now reluctant to use mobile banking as a method of payment. But that's difficult where cash is scarce and a lot of the people don't actually have bank accounts.
Because mobile money has become a challenge in Zim, what we used to do would be to send through Mukuru cash that would be received in EcoCash. But now, because the conditions do not allow that, we can only send through Mukuru that they will receive in US dollars, because that's the currency that's currently being recognized. No mobile money, and the bond as well is non-existent in terms of its value on the street.
Mobile money is a lifestyle, and the fact that right now, even if you have money in your mobile, the thing is that you cannot buy anymore with that, because a lot of people are not accepting it. People do not trust it anymore. So it has become like something that at one point everyone was moving towards, and now everyone is just running away from. So the normal person on the street is now really affected, because even the forex that they were getting is what they now need to use.
Joining me for a chat about this is Chichona Zindoka, who is the founder of Mail and Review in Harare in Zimbabwe. Firstly, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Maybe if you can start by telling us what actually happened with mobile money transactions in Zimbabwe recently.
Thank you, Zondi, and good evening, Africa. I think to put a context to this conversation, we need to appreciate that Zimbabwe is facing a lot of challenges economically for the past 2 decades, and this stem from the larger macroeconomic fundamentals regarding production in agriculture, in mining, and so forth. Zimbabwe has not been doing well in those indices. So without production and without meaning foreign exchange inflows, what has suffered the most is the local currency. And one of the key features of Zimbabwe's economic problems has been inflation, and in particular hyperinflation. I'm sure the most notorious episode was the 2008 one, which saw Zimbabwe recording the highest inflation in the world, numbering up to possibly 1,000,000%. That led to the adoption of the multi-currency system, and especially the primary use of the United States dollar. However, when the new dispensation or the new government of President Mnangagwa came in 2017, 2018, they set as one of their goals a return to a more stable local currency. Thus began the process of what is called de-dollarization and the return to the local Zimbabwean dollar. But as we have seen, the process has not been smooth, and it has actually taken a nosedive over the past few months. That there is now an attempt to go back to the usage of the United States dollar. So as of June, there was a peak in inflation, as the country recorded about 700% inflation rate officially. Other pointers state that their figure could be as high as 1,500% inflation. So that's a significant rout on the foreign, on the currency of any nation.
Mobile money was a huge part of Zimbabwean life. How are Zimbabweans transacting now?
People have resorted to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but I must sound a note of caution here, because in terms of the cryptocurrencies, people are still not sure, are still not familiar with how this technology works.
Can the government really fight cryptocurrency in the way that they are trying to fight mobile money in the country?
What we have seen now in Zimbabwe is a lack of probity and lack of predictability. But I think as authorities grapple with this new surge in hyperinflation and other pressures on the economy, they could come up with a solution. But I think a solution, a long-term solution that needs to take place in Zimbabwe is to open up many platforms that would stabilize the economy and also include the cryptocurrency side.
All right. Tichaona Zindoka, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
It swept through our lives and everything changed. We felt such a sense of loss. But with them, we feel hope. We honor the people that shine light again, the people that keep us safe, the people that take care of our children. They will do what they have always done, protect and serve on the front lines. Many of them have come through our doors. We are proud of each and every one. Lyceum, heroes of tomorrow.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology space.
A German tech company is in the process of developing an app aimed at detecting coronavirus using the sounds of coughing and sneezing as well as voice recognition.
Unsere App kann im ersten Schritt Sound-Events erkennen und auch schon eine erste Indikation darüber geben, ob aus der Stimme Covid-19-relevante Merkmale zu extrahieren sind. Im nächsten Schritt soll die App natürlich deutlich verbesserte Therapieverläufe ermöglichen und auch weiteren Aufschluss über die Entwicklung der Krankheit geben.
With the app, users are asked to record audio of themselves coughing, sneezing, or speaking. The technology begins to learn from such vocal characteristics and compares the data of recordings of COVID-19 patients. And now in Afghanistan. A team of high school girls in Afghanistan western city of Herat have built a prototype ventilator that they hope will be used in hospitals to help COVID-19 patients breathe easier amid the ongoing pandemic.
3 ساله که در این 3 سال ما کارهای زیاد و فعالیت‌های زیاد در بخش زراحت، صنعت و همچنان در قسمت امنیت داشتیم که ما یک ربات ساختیم که در قسمت ماینپاکی کار میکرد. ولی ما هیچ سابقه در ساخت دستگاه برای طب نداشتیم، یعنی در بخش طبابت ما دستگاه طبال نساخته بودیم. ولی خوشحالم از اینکه برای ما یک فرصت داده شد تا بتونیم فعالیت‌های خود در بخش طب آغاز کنیم.
The final design of the ventilator prototype was unveiled at a ceremony on July 13th, but still needs to undergo testing before it can be put to use. A health ministry spokesman said once the ventilators were approved, they would be rolled out in Afghan hospitals and the design shared with the World Health Organization. And now in China. The country's media group, otherwise known as CMG, one of the major media outlets in the country, on Tuesday launched a 5G-based 4K, 8K ultra-high-definition production and broadcasting demonstration platform project in Beijing.
整个5G 和超高清的结合的发展中起到了重要的引领和推动的作用。这个启动项目，我觉得对于国产化设备具备重大的示范作用。数码视讯愿意和总团一起，然后满足我们 总台对于设备的需求，最终满足我们整个观众不断提升的新媒体的观影的体验。
Focusing on the application needs, participants will develop 5G-based 4K, 8K related system equipment and formulate national or industrial technical standards. After completion of the project, a new business model of cloud pipe terminal based on 5G technology will come into being.
Facebook has said that they are going to investigate allegations that its algorithms are discriminating against certain ethnic groups. So our Twitter poll this week is asking you if you think this is actually true. 47% of you say yes, that is the majority. There's 17% of you who say no. There's also another 36%. Those people say they have no views on this. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za. On email. From me, Pumelele Zondi and the rest of the team, thank you very much for being a part of our network. Stay home and stay safe. Good night.
Mahlatsi Mashao's business idea was sparked by a longing and a desire for a bouquet of flowers above every other gift she was receiving while recovering in hospital.
I was just on a hospital bed and I did not receive flowers as I did receive everything but just not flowers. So that's how my idea of actually starting the flower business came about.
Armed with only passion and a deep love for flowers, Mashao has had to work hard to prove herself in an industry where there were already well-known and dominant players. 3 years